Have you ever wanted to find the perfect oceanside vacation? According to New Zealand Now, A Brief History, New Zealand was the last large livable place in the world to be discovered. Now, many people choose New Zealand to visit for many reasons or simply as a romantic getaway or family vacation destination. Today, I will talk about the society, the culture, and history of New Zealand, species that are unique to the area, and tourist hotspots. To begin, I will talk about the history of New Zealand and how society and culture has developed over the years to what it is today. New Zealand Now, A Brief History, copyrighted in 2020, the first settlers of the area arrived between 1200 and 1300 AD and were known as the Maori ancestors. The Maori ancestors stumbled upon New Zealand while they were exploring the Pacific Ocean. The first European to arrive in New Zealand was a Dutch explorer named Abel Tasman in 1642. Because the Dutch were the first ones to arrive in New Zealand, the Dutch language is where New Zealand actually got its name because the mapmaker who named the island was New Zealand. The Dutch were then followed by the British and the French over 100 years later. In 1893, New Zealand was known to be the first country that granted all women the right to vote, followed by becoming an independent dominion in 1907. New Zealand is very culturally diverse. You can see, as I have on slide 4, that there's a pie chart that shows you the religion breakdown and everything else I will be covering. According to a census in 2013, 25% of the people living in New Zealand were born abroad, 15% are from the Maori ancestors, around 12% are Asian, and over 7% are from Pacific Island. The top 4 languages spoken in New Zealand are Samoan, Maori, English, and Hindi. In New Zealand, according to the World Trade Press, New Zealand Society and Culture published 2012, the people are known to be extremely friendly and outgoing. They are also known to have amazing social skills and are very hospitable towards their visitors. New Zealand people enjoy those who are very upfront and open and honest and trusting and always are down to have a good laugh and have a good sense of humor. The common greeting is a handshake with a smile. They are very friendly, but they're not too touchy. The predominant religion in New Zealand, taking up over 50% of the population, is Christianity. In the pie chart, you can see that there are many different types of Christianity, and they are broken down in there. The other vast majority are non-religious, which you can also see on the pie chart on slide 4, that make up about 10% of the population. Based off the religions, the only official holidays of New Zealand are Christmas, Good Friday, and Easter. Now that I have told you about the history, society, and culture of New Zealand, I would like to share some of the unique species of New Zealand. Ephites are very popular throughout New Zealand because they thrive in tropical climates, according to Lang and Blackwell, Plants of New Zealand, published 1907. According to Tierra, species unique to New Zealand, published 2007 by Brockie, many of the animals and plants that are found in New Zealand are not found anywhere else. That makes them an endemic species, meaning that they are only found in New Zealand, nowhere else. The reason that these species are specific for the country is because the country is isolated from other land masses, so it's hard for them to spread to other countries. The number of native land-based animals and plants is guesstimated to be around 70,000 species. Being that New Zealand has been densely forested for the last 10,000 years, majority of the land animals are land animals that live into the forest. Forest birds have been and still are the most dominant native form of animal life in New Zealand, and of the land mammals, the majority of them are native to the country. A once popular native bird, the moa, had been adapted and were able to survive by browsing tall shrubs like that of tall animals such as a giraffe. Polynesians then hunted the moas and other birds, leading them to extinction. So moas are not around anymore. Today, species have been dwindled down to only around 20 bird species, 4 frog species, 80 lizard species, and over 20,000 insect species that are found in the forest habitat. Outside of the forest line, there are 3 major birds that live in New Zealand. This consists of the tiny rock wren, the native pipit, and the South Island's large key parrot. These all live in the mountains, And when looking at the coast, there are gulls, terns, and shags that live on the island's rocky and sandy coasts. And in the dunes behind the sandy beaches, you can find New Zealand's only venomous animal throughout the entire place, and it's called the Katipo spider. The waters of New Zealand are home to 3 native eel, 2 smelt species, a lamprey, 25 species of galaxids, and 7 species of bully. As you can see on slide 6 of my PowerPoint, you can see that I have pictures of the moa, the pipit, the parrot, the Katipo spider, and all of those that are native specifically to New Zealand. There are also several characteristics that make the animals of New Zealand very unique. When looking at the longevity of native New Zealand animals, they live for a very long time compared to animals of different temperate lands. And they're also very slow breeders. A fun fact about the moa is that once they were living in New Zealand, they took up to 10 years for maturity, which means that they were around so long, but they didn't reproduce as quick, which is definitely something that led them to extinction. And another unique characteristic is many of the birds are flightless due to the lack of predatory threats that are around the area in New Zealand. The animals of the region also tend to be dull in color and are very adaptive to diverse lifestyles and habitats. Moving forward, now I've informed you about the unique species of New Zealand, I would like to move to my final point and talk about tourist hotspots. According to Harrington's 101 Accessible Vacations, published in 2008, New Zealand's North Island is considered budget-friendly and has gorgeous scenery. On slide 7, you can see that I have a picture of the Waitangi Treaty grounds that covers my first point, North Island. New Zealand's North Island is considered budget-friendly and gorgeous, and it consists of many things to do, such as shopping, variety of local dining places, and sporting outings. In the North Island, you will find New Zealand's most historic sites, which is pictured on slide 7, the Waitangi Treaty Grounds. Here you can take canoes out and get a good feel for the cultures as you ride down the coast. When looking for family-friendly destinations, the South Island of New Zealand is a great place to be. Lake Tekapo is a place to stop that includes the Church of the Good Shepherd, which is pictured on slide 8. Walking tracks, amazing stargazing because the sky is so open and beautiful and you're in the middle of the ocean. And if you're wanting to get out in the water, Waikana is a great place to go sailing, kayaking, hiking, and just all around on the water. Activities to do in New Zealand are very wide range because it is so nice outside. You can be inside and outside. According to New Zealand Now, recreation, the outdoors, you can experience amazing walking paths, waterfalls, mountains, and even volcanoes in the countryside. And the outdoor offers many activities such as fishing and camping and hunting, and is also known for the skiing that is found in their Southern Alps. So if you're ever looking to plan a trip to New Zealand or try to find a tropical vacay, you definitely need to check out New Zealand. And New Zealand Now is a website that can help you with all of your questions and help you completely lay out your itinerary because it's a very helpful website. Today I explained the society and culture in New Zealand, unique species to the land, and tourist hotspots throughout the island. Starting out as a remote island that no one had been to, New Zealand is now one of the most popular tropical vacation spots in the world for family destinations and even romantic honeymoon destinations. Next time you're looking for a change in weather, be sure to check out Flights to New Zealand.